Hello and welcome to Life Soundtrack, a podcast designed for you listeners and viewers to learn about wonderful people doing great things within society and the body of Christ. My name is Ishanisu Felix Mchikambizi, also known as Felix to many, and I'd like to welcome you to our second episode of Life's Soundtrack. On this podcast, we allow our guests to choose a minimum of 3 to 4 songs of their own choice. Also, a non-musical item as well, ranging from a TV show, a film, or a book of their choice. These allow us to get to know them on a deeper level and know about their personality. On today's show, I'm joined by 2 senior Salvation Army soldiers who've been serving at Echo's Core for a very long time. I'm proud to introduce Kevin and Betty. Kevin and Betty, I'd like to welcome you both to Life Soundtrack. Thank you so much for gracing us.
I will stop and breathe in your presence. Just breathe. Just breathe.
So, though I've done a bit of introduction of you both, people out there would really want to know, who is Kevin and Betty?
Well, I've been associated with the Corps at Eccles for most of my life. I wasn't actually dedicated in the army. I was christened in the Methodist Church. But my grandfather, who I lived with at the time, was a Salvationist, and he brought me as a young child to the army, and I liked it and I stayed.
Mm-hmm. And Betty?
Oh, I've been born and bred here.
Yes.
I'd grown up in the YP Corps, and of course before that the primary.
Mm-hmm.
There were good days because we had Sunday school outings and we had lots of fun with our YP Sergeant Major at the time. So we did have a good upbringing, and even now I can remember lots of little things that happened in them days. You know, they stay with you. When you have them as a child, they stay with you. Yeah, we enjoy coming. It's part of our life. And meeting new people. Obviously, there's lots of new people now. Lots of new friends, which we enjoy.
Yes.
They all have different opinions, but mostly the good Christians. So we just enjoy our meetings here, all various things. The people who take our meetings are very individual and have their own ideas, but all very nice. Something new every Sunday. Yeah.
Kevin, you say you were Christian in the Methodist. So what led you to then become a Salvation Army? Was it something that you decided to pursue as you were a bit older, or is something that...
Yes, I come from quite I suppose you call it ecumenical family. My father was a Roman Catholic. My mother went to the Methodist Church, and my granddad came to the Salvation Army. But the story goes that I was quite ill with pneumonia when I was a youngster, and where my mother lived, the house was very damp, and the doctors said I needed to be somewhere where it was drier, and consequently I was sent to live with my grandfather, and I stayed with him really all my life up till getting married. So my granddad brought me to the army. I got involved in the YP Corps, became in the junior band. And as you're a youngster, because you're coming under the influence of the Bible and Christian outlooks, you gradually realise there's something not quite right in your life. At a young age, you don't often know what it is, but when you're invited to kneel at the penitent form, as we had in Sunday school, and it was a case of you knew you'd not been good, and you wanted to ask the Lord to forgive you and help you to live a better life. And that was my start to the Christian way. I knew I had to be different, although at that very young age I didn't quite understand why. But as you get older, of course, all these things come to light.
So for your first live soundtrack, you both chose Love Changes Everything by Michael Ball. What is the significance of this song to you both?
Well, we both went to see the musical, didn't we? Aspects of Love. And we really enjoyed it. And it's quite a complicated story. It's about the lives of a family and a group of people who, shall we say, we'd regard as perhaps dysfunctional. But it follows them through, 20-odd years of life and all their ups and downs, falling in love with people, falling out of love with people, all the sadness that it can bring as things break up and relationships break down. And he sings this beautiful song, Love Changes Everything. And Betty and I were discussing it the other day, and we came to the conclusion that why it meant a lot to us was because, to spiritualise it, he said that God changed everything. The love of God changed everything, didn't we? And that we realised it was because of God's love for us that we have been changed, we've been forgiven, and we're free. And that's why that song sticks in our mind. It's the theme that love changes everything.
Love can make the summer fly, or a night seem like a lifetime. Yes, love changes everything. Now I tremble at your name. Nothing in the world will ever be the same.
In your journey with Christ, when did you both decide to become a born-again Christian?
Well, we having been brought up from small children, it's an ongoing progress, isn't it? And we had very good teachers in the army, like in Sunday school, and first of all in the primary, and they didn't just do it themselves. They asked if you would like to do something. So at that time we had a sand tray, which was a table as long as this, and we had little figures that we told the story of every Sunday. And you had to really play it out because the children were mesmerised at you, Yes. And they all sat on little chairs and they never made any noise, just listened. And it was really nice, wasn't it?
Because we didn't have TV and things like that in those days, it was the visual thing that it had, and this called it a sand tray. It was covered in sand, and it had little buildings like around Jerusalem and Bethlehem, and the little figures were on pieces of string. And as the story was told, someone at this end would pull the string, and the character would come along, and then someone at that end would pull another character, and it was just fascinating for children. It got the Bible story home to them.
Oh, okay. So for you both, that's what happened. That's what led you both to.
That's what
led you both to.
That as young
as
people,
children,
yeah.
Oh, that's a very unique way. I've never seen that. I've never seen that happen.
It was very, very good, actually. And I took over doing the sand tray when the gentleman that did it, he was getting on. But he was there, but he taught me how to do it with the stories of Jesus. And it came alive with these little figures, you see, because children were really interested. And they were very quiet because they were watching all the time.
It was the high tech of the day.
Yeah.
There was the modern technology for that time, before all these electronics and all this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for young people then, at that time, was there like a strong Christian relationship, like a Christian family for young people back then during those times? Or it was just like now where it's just a bit of like 50-50?
No, we had upstairs in the top hall that you've seen, we must have had about 10 different age groups of classes of children from 7-8-year-old up to teenage. And we had some lovely teachers who would teach us from the Bible and explain to us, and you would really understand what it meant to be saved again. You really got explained to you why, if you weren't saved and didn't believe in Jesus, that, life was going to be rocky. And when it came to the end, you'd have a lot to think about. And it really was a wonderful Sunday school. The person in charge in the army, we called him the Sergeant Major, the Junior Sergeant Major. And he was a wonderful man. Harry Berry, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. He was a wonderful man, and he could have the children wrapped round his hand. So attentive. The way he put across a story was just wonderful. And that's what made us realise, there's another way of living. And consequently, as you got that little bit older, you got to wonder, got to teenage years, and you had to make a decision because, were you going to carry on with this life searching for this wonderful thing, or were you going to go your own way? And unfortunately, quite a few chose the other way. Some of them came back later, but it was a good awakening into the Christian way of life.
For your second life soundtrack, you chose Men of Harlech by Treorchy Male Voice Choir. I hope I'm saying it right.
Yes,
yeah.
spot on.
Yeah.
So why did you pick this song?
Well, let me say straight away, Betty's a nice singer.
Oh, yeah, I know.
And I'm not, full stop. But we both like choral singing. And we like a male voice choir, particularly a Welsh male voice choir. And we heard the Treorchy choir sing Men of Harlech many years ago. And we've talked about this, haven't we? We've said about why are the Welsh such good singers?
Yeah.
And we come to the conclusion that, well, in our opinion, the Welsh language is so, if you hear them speaking in Welsh, it's so up and down. It's almost like a melody. And we wonder if that's the reason why the Welsh are such good singers. But we particularly like this Men of Harlech. It tells the story, I believe, of when they were holed up in Harlech Castle and the English were attacking it. They held out for months, I believe, and then somebody wrote this song in celebration. Yes. And it's a marching song, and it really gives you a tingle up your spine when you hear it. It's wonderful.
So now we have reached a segment where we allow our guests to choose a non-musical item ranging from a TV show, a film, or a book of your choice. So for your non-musical item, you chose Watership Down, which is a film and also a book that I saw, based in 1978. What's the significance of this film for both of you?
Well,
it's just, we like animals, and that just filled our mind with lovely stories about them.
Yeah, we like the fact that it in a kind of way, that I don't know if love seems to be a theme in this talk, but if you know the story, there was a young rabbit called Fiver, I think his name was, and he had a brother called Hazel, and they were talking one day, and Fiver said to Hazel, "I've got this funny feeling something bad's going to happen." They persuaded one or two of the other rabbits to go with them, and they went looking for this safe place, but I don't know. I think what happened was they had so many bad experiences on this journey, and quite a few good ones, but mostly bad ones, and eventually they came across a bird that was injured. We love these stories about animals. Yes. And they were trying to find this nice place, and they couldn't find it. But this bird said to them, "I'll help you to find it." And they get there, and cut a long story short, they live happily ever after as a rabbit family, bring up the young ones. But what sort of stuck with us again is this fact that the love of the animals for each other, the fact that the animals cared for the bird, and the bird then said, "Right, I need to care for you." And to me, it was just another story of love in action. And Betty sort of usually has a little weep when she watches that film.
Yeah.
Also, it's more like a comfort film whenever you just want to just relax, enjoy yourself. Okay.
Well, see, a nice story with a happy ending.
Happy ending, that's the main thing.
Where do you come from?
Oh, far away. My friends and I live as we please. Would you like to join us?
Where are we going? If we meet again, we'll have the making of the best story ever. I don't believe you know where you're going.
That's the place for us. High, lonely hills, where the wind and the sound carry, and the ground's as dry as straw in a barn. That's where we ought to be. That's where we have to get to.
No! So, if you were to go back in time, this is one I want to know really, which year would you like to really relive again? Betty, we'll start with you.
Oh. Well, there's so many, really.
Yeah.
I mean, growing up, I had my sister and my brother here when we grew up. Haven't now, sadly, but my sister and I used to sing duets here on the platform. And when we had important visitors like the DC and things like that, you know, they used to we stood at the front there. It was a platform then, and the officials were behind us, if you like. I was scared to death, you know. But it went off okay, and from that time on, we sang quite a few duets in our time.
So, and for you, Kevin, what year would you say you would like to relive again?
(1964), perhaps.
Okay.
And that was the year I asked Betty if she'd marry me, and she said yes.
Okay.
That made me very happy that year.
Wow, 1964.
All right, don't count the years up.
What led up to that moment?
Well, I was probably the last person anybody would have thought Betty would end up marrying.
Including me.
Because I wasn't an angel in those days. And I just out of the blue asked her one night if she would go to the cinema with me. Mm-hmm. And shock of all shocks, she said yes. And it started from there. I just fell in love with her. And by this time, of course, we both were Christians and we both worshipped together. Betty served in the songsters and I played in the band, and it just seemed the natural thing to do.
For your final live soundtrack, you both chose Love Divine or Love Excelling to the tune of Blind One. Why did you pick this song, and what is its importance to you both?
We wanted God's blessing on our marriage. That was what we wanted. And Love Divine or Love's Excelling, it's a lovely, well-known Charles Wesley hymn. And additionally, I like the tune Blaine Win. It's a good tune for a brass band. And the main reason we talked about this was, as I say, we both wanted God's blessing, and the final verse, the first two lines say, "Finish then this new creation.
Yes.
Pure and spotless let it be." And that was what we wanted, and we talked about it, and Betty chose the hymn and I chose the tune. So I got a good brass band tune and Betty got the verse that she wanted.
What is the hardest challenge you both had to overcome in your lives?
Keeping faithful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All the temptations that you, and the upsets and the disappointments, sometimes it's hard to keep faithful, but you've just got to pray about it. And, well, I've found you've just got to keep on believing, as the old song says.
Yeah, I know that God forgives the little things that perhaps you do wrong every now and then. You know, God's always there to forgive. No, yeah, but we must admit we had very good teachers in the junior and in the primary, and faithful, never missed doing what they were promised to do. And yeah, it was very good. Juniors, junior band, singing company over there, songsters over there, the band on the platform here when it was a platform.
Yes.
And the seats were full. Sometimes I had to go up in the balcony.
Mm.
So they kept going a long time like that, didn't they?
They left us a good example.
Yeah.
Yes.
The old soldiers definitely did.
If you were in the songsters or the band, if you didn't turn up for practice, you got told.
They kept a record of like who attended and who didn't.
But you missed you on Thursday or when band practice was. Yeah, well, you know.
But the band secretary or the band sergeant would be round to your house if you missed, mainly to check that. I mean, we didn't have phones, so you didn't phone up the band secretary to say, "I can't come tonight." You probably just didn't end up coming, and he'd be round before weekend to see if you was okay. Mm-hmm. Not chasing you, why weren't you there, but just to see if you were okay. And that was part of the pastoral care, which the corps was a big family, and the songsters was a smaller family, and the band was a smaller family, and each section had a person responsible for pastoral care, and it was lovely, actually. Mm. It was nice to know people cared.
And that concludes this wonderful episode of Live Soundtrack. And I would like to take this time to really thank Kevin and Betty for joining us really on this second episode of Live Soundtrack. Please make sure to continue to tune in as we be introducing more people from different walks of life to really talk about that journey of faith and their love of music. Please make sure to also check out our social media handles on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Plexus Salvation Army, and as well as Selah Time to Pause. There you get to see content that we create on a regular basis. From me and the rest of the crew, God bless you all and keep listening to Live Soundtrack. I'll leave you with Kevin and Betty's final choice of Love Divine.
Love divine, oh love.
This has been Selah Time to Pause, a podcast from Plexus Salvation Army, an online church in the UK.
I'm Ian.
I'm Elizabeth.
And I'm Sam.
If you've enjoyed journeying with us over these last few weeks, join us every Monday,
Or any day that works for you,
to spend time together, taking time out to pause, catch our breath, draw near to God and refresh our spirits.
We share Bible teachings,
Reflections on songs we're listening to,
And on what's going on in the world around us.
as well as this. On the last day of the month, we look back and reflect, share any thoughts from our listener community, and ask what we can take from it into our daily living.
what we call our personal So What's for the month.
Join us, making us part of your regular routine, spending a few minutes to listen to what God might be saying to you.
Find us on your favourite podcast streaming service
On Facebook,
Or YouTube.
by searching for Selah.
that's SELAH.
Time to pause.